fellow bibliophiles. This is Sophia from Los Literature, and I'm back with another video. Today's video will be my July TBR. So it is a few days into July, and I have yet to pick my TBR. I am unfortunately suffering from a bit of a reading slump, but I am determined to get out of that. So to help me is my magic crystal bowl of my TBR. I need to think of a name for this because it's not quite a jar, so I can't call it a TBR jar. If you have any suggestions as to what I should call this, please leave it down below in the comments. I do want to get like a label or something that I could put on it for this reason. Now, this little experiment worked very well for me in the month of June, and I quite enjoyed it a lot, getting to do that video with you guys and picking out which books I would be reading. Now, I didn't quite get through all of the books that I picked out. As I mentioned, I did fall into a bit of a reading slump, but I did get through quite a few, and I will, of course, be doing a June wrap-up, talking about all of my reads in the month of June and how it went for me. Now, I have decided on a new rule. So, my rules so far are as follows. I will pick 8 to 10 books to read a month from this jar. If I pick one that involves reading quite one of my very long series, that is maybe the only one I'll pick, or I'll pick like maybe 2 or 3 other books depending on how long that series is. So for example, one of the series I'm going to be rereading is The House of Night. The House of Night series has 12 books. If I pick that, those are the only books I will be reading in that month. If I pick rereading Percy Jackson, since there are only 5 books, I'll pick an additional 3 or 5 apart from that series. Now, I am so excited for my new rule because I realized in my reading slump that things just weren't going very well for me in terms of like feeling like I had to read all the books I'd picked before I could start new ones. So all of the books I did not get to went back in the TBR bowl. I guess that's what we'll call it for now, the TBR bowl. And I have a chance to pick them again. This is just to keep me from feeling bogged down and pressured to read things that I don't actually feel like reading by the time I try to read them. I'm by definition a mood reader, not all the time, but quite a lot. So this has really helped me in picking a multitude of books that fit a multitude of moods that I experience throughout the month in terms of reading. But with this, I realized that sometimes I can't get myself to read the books, and that's okay. We're here to have fun reading, and we're here to read great books. So I'm not gonna punish myself by making myself read books I don't feel particularly motivated to at that moment. Instead, they'll just go back, and I have a chance to pick them again, and then maybe they'll get read that time. Remember, we are quality, not quantity on this channel. I don't read as many books a month as I have previously, and that's okay. And I'm saying that out loud because I need to hear it too. So yes, I'm super excited to do this month's video with my TBR bowl. So yes, we shall get into it. Now, I do actually have another video that I need to film about all the recent books I've gotten. Surprise, surprise, I can't keep a book buying ban. Who can though? Like, who has that control over themselves? I certainly don't. I have no shelf control. I don't. I really don't. And I bought more books, which is not entirely a surprise. I will do a video though recapping all of those new books I bought, but for the moment all the new books are in here save for one. So I recently finished a book last night, July 3rd. Today is July 4th, and I needed something to read. So I picked up one of the new books that I had bought. Sorry, I'm an English teacher and I can't speak correctly. that I had bought, and that was The Final Empire. This is book 1 of the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 10th edition cover. Isn't it gorgeous? Like, oh my goodness. I have wanted to read these for such a long time, but the only covers that were really appealing to me were the white ones, and those are UK and honestly quite hard to get your hands on, but these are so appealing to me. The pages are thin, which I love, and look how floppy they are. Like, I just wanna I stop reading like just to play with the floppiness of the book, and it makes me so happy. Anyways, I'm on page 62 already. I just started this today, and 62 out of like over 500. This honestly isn't the biggest Sanderson book I have read. I did start with the Stormlight Archive series, so I'm kind of used to his massive 1,000-page books, and so this is a breath of fresh air for me to read a Brandon Sanderson that isn't ridiculously big. It's quite nice. I quite like it. So yes, I am so excited to be reading this month. This will be my first read of the month, I hope. I hope it doesn't take me nearly as long to get through, but since I've already read 62 pages today, I don't think it will. So far it is very intriguing and I am loving it. Okay, so now we're gonna get into actually picking books from the TBR bowl. Who's ready? Just gotta mix them up a bit. Oh yes, I forgot to mention this. So please ignore the label. I'm trying to figure out how to get that off, but I can't. I buy the Barilla marinara sauce, and I thought, why not use this for all of my read books? So all the little papers, once I read the book, will be put in this jar. You can already kind of see some in there. Yeah, I just thought it would be cute to kind of display unread versus read, and this jar by the end of this year should be fuller than this is. Anyways, okay, on to it. Hope there are no bugs in here. I've had quite a lot of bugs in my house lately and I don't like it. I picked this one. We shall see what it is. Oh, okay. It is The Box in the Woods. I don't know if you can see that. All right, that is actually just right over on my other shelf. Okay, so the next book that I have picked to read this month is The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. I have read the Truly Devious trilogy and I loved it. I'm a sucker for like true crime and amateur sleuths and stuff. Sherlock Holmes, as you guys know. And I loved the Truly Devious trilogy, so I'm super excited for this one. This one is about Stevie Bell and her friends going to a summer camp where an infamous slaughter happened. Now, I'm also a fan of slasher movies, so summer camp, slaughter, like, ooh, like, could we get any more slasher-like? I just love that. And I really hope this is good. I also hope that it's kind of got a little bit of a darker tone than the original trilogy, simply because Stevie is a bit older in this book. She's more experienced. She's already solved a case. I want to get like down and dirty and nitty-gritty, especially because the last line of this paragraph explaining the book says, "This time Stevie may not make it out alive." That makes me so curious, and like I'm desperately hoping for that like kind of darker tone and more gritty tone. I don't know how much of that I'll get considering this is YA, but one never knows. So okay, time to pick the third book. We'll take this one since it literally jumped out at me. Ooh, this might be one of the books that I recently bought, actually. It's not, I don't think. Let me see. Okay, the book is Good Girls Die First and I'm gonna go get it, so I'll be right back. The third book that I will be reading this month is Good Girls Die First by Catherine Foxfield. This is another YA, and it's about, how many? 10 people invited to this island, and they all supposedly have secrets. And basically someone is hunting them down and murdering them. That is very interesting. That's also very dark, considering this is YA, and this cover, like, it's so creepy. Like, the mask, ugh, it creeps me out. I have already started this. I'm on page 26, so not very far. I might honestly restart it from the beginning. And also this text is double spaced, so I will read this quite quickly once I actually get started on it. So yeah, I'm super excited to finally finish this because I've been trying to read it for a while, and hopefully I actually get around to finishing it this month. All right, so far we've got fantasy, 1 fantasy, and 2 mystery thrillers. We shall see where else we go. Okay, I'm gonna choose this one. Oh, interesting. Okay, I need to find this one. Okay, so the next book is Dare You To, which is another YA. Wow, it's the month of YA. I will be right back. Okay, so the next book I will be reading is Dare You To by Katie McGarry. And honestly, okay, I don't really like young adult contemporary. I don't particularly like young adult contemporary romance. This is the only series that I actually like that is young adult contemporary romance. And the reason why, it feels more new adult than it does young adult. A lot of these characters are in really angsty, that's not exactly the right word, but they're in really angsty and tragic life circumstances. For example, the main character in this one, Beth, her home life is very awful, and her mom could go to jail and stuff like that. And this whole series is full of older teenagers doing their best to make it through some really challenging and unfair obstacles, and I really like that. These books send a very good message of, like, you know, young love isn't always something that we should judge teenagers for, because sometimes it literally helps them survive. So it gives them hope. And I really love that about these books. This is the second book in the series. The first one is, oh wait. Yes. The first one is Pushing the Limits, if you're interested in reading this series. I really loved Pushing the Limits as well. I think I have it somewhere. I think it's downstairs. But yeah, I am excited to finally read this. I did read these series when I was a teenager, but it's been so long that I don't really remember it, so I'm kind of excited to reread it and hopefully find it just as engaging and fun as I did when I was a teenager, and I hope I still like it as much, because now that I'm an adult, it's kind of iffy on whether I'll still love the same things I loved when I was a teenager. All right, time to choose the next one. Stir, stir. Let's go with this one. Okay. I think I tricked myself into thinking, oh, I don't have that many books to read. My papers are so tiny. And then I start, like, actually digging around in there, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of paper. There's a lot of little papers. I cannot, unfortunately, do this one. So I picked Reading House of Night. Unfortunately, I cannot do that because I already have 4 books chosen, and it's way too much. So we are going to put that aside, and then I will put that one back. I'm closing my eyes, I'm closing my eyes. I used a different paper for some of them on accident, so now it's like I can distinguish which ones are which. Oh, okay. So the next book I will be reading is Krampus. Okay, so the next book I will be reading is Krampus by Brom. This is one of my new books as well. You may have noticed that I did buy Slewfoot by Brom as well. And this one, I couldn't resist when I saw it in the store. I was like, oh my gosh, someone actually wrote a horror story about Krampus. Because for some reason, I just love Krampus so much, and that story is so intriguing to me. So this makes me really excited to read it. And this is one of my new books that I will make a video, that I will include in a video of my newest books that I have bought or hauled. So yeah, I'm super excited to read this. I love this cover. It is so like chilling and also gorgeous at the same time. And basically it is just about a small town and a struggling songwriter. And so basically this songwriter has to complete this task for Krampus. I'm very intrigued. I've never read a Brom book either, and apparently he has quite a few books, or at least I've seen 3 for sure. So yeah, I can't believe I haven't read one until now. That's kind of crazy. Anyways, this is again illustrated with his amazing art style. Oh yes, so Brom has also written The Child Thief, The Devil's Rose, The Plucker, and there is another one about a guy who goes to hell to save his wife, I can't remember. Ooh, see, here's one of the pictures. Isn't it gorgeous? I can't wait to read this book. And it also has deckled edges. And I love deckled edges. I'm one of those people who loves deckled edges. But comment down below whether you love deckled edges or hate them, because it is such like a debate within the book community of people who like them and people who don't like them. So yes, I am on team deckled edges, but comment down below if you are not or if you are and why. I would love to hear it actually. So okay, this will be the 5th book I read this month. And I think I'm gonna try reading these in the order I picked them out. Just because I think that'll help provide some structure for me to actually read them. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna set a goal for myself to do 10 books this month, so I'm gonna pick 5 more. That's crazy. I can't believe I'm gonna try to do that. Okay. Oh, interesting. The next book is The Teacher Wars. That's actually right here. So The Teacher Wars is a nonfiction account of the history of teaching and how it has become one of America's most embattled professions. This is the book. It's by Dana Goldstein. And what this author means by embattled is that teachers are constantly challenged. And that's not a new phenomenon. That has existed for like 100 years. So I'm very curious to read this book and actually understand the history of teaching and some of the stuff that teachers have had to face and deal with every few decades. And I am on page 14. It can be really hard for me to get through nonfiction just because it's not particularly entertaining. But since I start teaching, oh my gosh, I start teaching the 31st of this month, I really want to read this because it's gonna kind of equip me for some of the battles I might have to face in defending myself and my classroom and my students and what I teach. So yeah, okay. This is the 6th book I will read this month. Oh, books are heavy. No one ever tells you how heavy books are until you try to carry a ton of them. Oh, okay, so the next book I will be reading is Career of Evil. Again, another new book that I recently picked up. All right, so this is by Robert Galbraith, and this is the 3rd book in the Cormoran Strike series. And basically each book in the series is just a different case that Cormoran Strike and his assistant Robin try to solve, and the books progressively get bigger as the series goes, which is kind of interesting. But I love these. They're set in London. There is very good disability rep in here. Actually, I'm not the most qualified person to say that, but I think there is good disability rep in here. Cormoran Strike is a war veteran who does have a prosthetic, and he talks honestly about what life is like with a prosthetic and how hard it can be to navigate a world that is not set up for people with disabilities. So yeah, I'm very excited to read this. This one is about a killer from Cormoran Strike's past, and he tries to track him down because he thinks the police are going in the wrong direction. Very interesting. I'm very excited. I loved the first two in this series, so I hope to enjoy this one as well. Alright. And that is the 7th book I will read this month. Now, the 8th book I will be reading this month is oh my gosh, no way. I'm so excited. The Secret History. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me go get it and then I'll be right back. Okay, so the next book I will be reading is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And one of the bookish things that I picked up at Barnes & Noble was this Dark Academia candle. And it smells like melancholy moods and secret societies, and I thought this would be the perfect candle to burn while I read The Secret History. And I'm so excited because I'm gonna get to do that this month. Oh my gosh, I'm literally so excited. I love like having candles that are like, oh, this is exactly like the book I'm reading right now. Anyways, this book is so famous that if you don't know about it, I'm a little surprised. And basically it's just about a group of students who are under the influence of a classics professor, and they murder one of the students in the group. And basically it explores human morality and just a lot of philosophical aspects like that. I am so excited. As you can see, I did start this. I'm on page 9, so I'm not a ton of the way in, but I am annotating, so that is why. And we all know when I annotate, okay? So yes, I'm so excited to read this month, and it's gonna be a blast. I can't wait. All right, and the 9th book I'm reading this month is, sorry, I'm gonna pick a different one. I'm closing my eyes. Okay. Ooh, this is never mind, it's not a little one. Oh, okay. I have a middle grade, and that is Grip of the Shadow Plague. Let me find that, and then I will be right back. I found it. It was right behind me. Okay, so the next book I will be reading is the 3rd book in the Fablehaven series, Grip of the Shadow Plague by Brandon Mull. This is a series that I have a lot of nostalgia for, just because I read the first book when I was about 10 or 12, but I never finished the series, and so now as an adult I am finishing the series, and I'm having like just the most fun time. I feel like it's reminding me so much of my childhood and how much fun I had reading middle grade fantasy. Like, they're just such fun books. They're never too dark, they're never too sad. They're just lighthearted and fun, and they're all about family and friends. And one of the reasons I love this book so much is the connection between Seth and his sister. I mean, I love when there's like healthy familial relationships in books, because so often we get very unhealthy depictions of that. So it's nice to see something else for a change. This will be the 9th book I read this month, and I'm very excited for it. Alright, gotta figure out a different way of stacking here. Maybe it should be, no, because It's always, I learned recently that if you're gonna put a series it's horizontally, you always have to put the first, second, and then the third book. So for example, we have Shatter Me and then Unravel Me and then Ignite Me, because you always want to be able to easily grab the next book in the series. I didn't know that. I used to always do it the other way, but that way makes a lot more sense. So I'm doing the same thing. It's gonna go top to bottom, order of what was picked first. Okay, now for my final book of the month, what is it gonna be? What is it gonna be? I feel like this one. Okay. Let's see. It's nerve-wracking. Interesting. We have Climbing the Stairs. I will be right back. Okay, so the next book and last book that I will be reading this month is Climbing the Stairs by Padma Venkatraman. This author is Indian, and this book is about an Indian main character, so my own voices coming in, woo! Sorry, I am trying to read more own voices books and more diversely, but usually a lot of what the publishing industry pushes is white people writing books with white characters, so. And this one I actually don't know much about. I hadn't even heard of it until I was in college and a professor gifted me this book. And basically it's about a 15-year-old girl named Vidya who dreams of going to college, which is an unusual aspiration for a girl living in British-occupied India during World War II. So this is a historical fiction, but it's set in India. I don't know anything about India or Indian culture, so I'm very excited to have a chance to learn. And also, I love that this main character is like aspiring to go do something with her life. I love that, and I love that story for younger girls who can relate to that, even if they're not Indian or if they don't come from a family like Padma's or Vidya's. Padma's the author. And yeah, I'm just really excited to read this and see what I think. I think this will be a breath of fresh air to end the month with and kind of challenge me and help me learn. So yeah, those are all of the 10 books that I am going to read in July. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below with some of the books that you're looking forward to reading this month. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to join me here, and I hope you have a wonderful month. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!